Yo, A2HH Live on a Wednesday. We here. Mike D. Coop. What's good, Coop? How you doing, brother?
What's good?
Oh, not much, man. We got a whole lot to talk about today. We're going to cover everything from currency to Dr. Dre getting a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame. I feel like I need to adjust my mic a little bit, studio flow and all of that. First things first, I want to talk Big Three. Are you following anything with the Big Three?
I haven't this week.
Okay, well, they're 2 games in.
So update me, yeah.
Yeah, they're 2 games in. What I see right now is Jason Richardson is he's the leading scorer in the league. So what I want to do, man, I know you and I be keeping up with, basketball. I think if we could start our shows talking some Big Three stuff, especially since Ice Cube is the owner of the Big Three, it just makes sense. And that gives us some sports talk to have, in the interim.
Like the Big Three talk?
Yeah.
Do have some slight NBA talk, but it's more of a piggyback talk.
Well, go ahead. Go ahead with the NBA talk real quick.
I don't get to watch much TV, but I watched First Take a couple of days ago. It might have been yesterday. I'm not even sure. All the days been running together, as usual.
Right.
Here. As usual over here.
Per
days
usual.
are running together. But they did a category about, which athlete reminds you of which MC.
Ah, yeah.
And then they did a who is the Michael Jordan of hip-hop. So I'm going to give you some of the athlete-rapper comparisons that they gave, and I want your thoughts on those things.
Okay.
That's if you're done with the Big Three talk.
No.
I want to give Ice Cube
I am. We're early in that season. I just wanted to let people know that we're going to start keeping up with some of the Big Three stuff in the stats and everything. But, yeah, go ahead.
What do you think about the Lamar Jackson Eminem comparison?
Why are they comparing Lamar Jackson with Eminem?
I wrote notes because I knew you were going to say that. Not your typical for what they do, and often doubted by naysayers.
Who's doubted Lamar Jackson, really? Anybody who really knows what it is.
Mike,
you know what I mean?
Mike.
I remember watching him in Louisville.
Mike, most of the white establishment in the NFL tried to make this guy into a running back or wide receiver, including Bill Polian, who has literally built out Super Bowl winning and contending franchises. He is arguably one of the top 5 GMs of the last 30, 40 years, and he thought this guy wasn't even going to be viable as a quarterback, let alone be an MVP. So he has plenty of naysayers.
What I will say, if you want to say that...
and it's because of his skin color that they feel this way, much like Eminem.
Well, all right, this is what I'll say. I think that obviously skin color is always a factor, right? But I'm going to go and be consistent where I am normally with Eminem as it, pertains to him and his music. I think that the style of play that Lamar puts out there on the field isn't something that game planners and, the people who got the headsets on really want to plan for. And I give Baltimore props for actually centering their team around his skill set. And I think that there is a correlation between what Dre and Jimmy Iovine were able to do with Eminem and tailor their expertise around what Eminem does well. So I'm okay with that comparison in that light. But I don't like the fact of trying to make, Eminem feel marginalized for being white. He sold a bunch of records because he's white. There's some, benefits to it as well. So it wasn't all bad. I think it's all bad for Lamar.
That's fair. Well, that's fair. That's kind of how, the systemic and institutional racism is set up. Another conversation for another day. I found this one to be fascinating. Tim Duncan and Nas.
Why Nas and Tim Duncan?
Fundamentally sound and often overlooked because the person that brought that up then compared Kobe to Jay-Z. Has in same time, same amount of rings, but kind of done different. And kind of done more on a solo mission. Because I've always told you this, Mike. I have Tim Duncan ahead of Kobe and Shaq.
I'm not mad at that.
Because Kobe and Shaq had Kobe and Shaq for 3 of those rings.
Yeah.
One got 4, one got 5. Don't Tim got 5?
Tim got 5.
Did he ever play with a Kobe or a Shaq?
No, he didn't.
Better.
But he had a Popovich, though.
Better. No, they had Phil.
And they had Phil Jackson.
They had Phil.
Yeah.
No hall passes. Kobe had Phil the entirety of the time.
That's true. No, I'll give you that. I just think that
But I like the fundamentally sound thing because the thing that Nas does great is the fundamental hip hop things.
What I don't like about that though, it
The
makes
boring
it
part?
feel like like Nas is boring or
But
something.
but wasn't that your critique of him in the midstream of his career though?
I would say that stuff was anticlimactic, but Tim Duncan doesn't have the Nas's like moments though. You know what I mean? Like Tim Duncan is fundamentally sound through and through.
I hear you.
Yeah.
Because Nas has Barry Sanders, Deion Sanders type
Nas
of
has moments where you're like, even if you do find some of his stuff, you know what I'm saying, not as climatic as others, he does have those climatic moments that we can't sit there and say, yo, I remember that game when Tim put up 50.
Right.
You know what I mean?
No,
like,
he has Barry Sanders type of runs on songs
Yeah.
where it's like, did you just watch him run for 60 yards? Yeah.
Okay, we talked about Kobe. I would say that
What do you think about the Kobe J thing?
I think Wayne is more of a Kobe.
Wayne actually is the next one we're going to. It was Wayne and LeBron that got bought up.
No.
But listen, no, because I like this comparison. Both have been viable and relevant since their teens.
That's fine, but you can say the same thing about Kobe. Listen, let's keep it a buck. It's more correlated with Kobe and Wayne than it is LeBron. LeBron was a fucking superstar at his teens. Wayne was not. Let's not rewrite history.
That's fair. Wayne had to work his way like Kobe.
Wayne didn't become that guy until the Carter.
No, Wayne worked like Kobe.
Exactly. So I like the Kobe and Wayne a little bit more.
Okay.
What's the other one they got?
Well, people compared, obviously, when he went to Michael Jordan. Everybody went J, and one person went Rakim. So we had one Rakim and three J's.
This is why I would give Jay-Z the Michael Jordan.
People bought it up because of the business aspect and the behind-the-scenes stuff.
That too. Well, this is the thing about Jay. And I would pick Jay over Rakim in this sense because, as far as the Michael Jordan comparison. Because more so than all the other guys, Jay wanted to be the best. Michael wanted to be the best. I felt like with Rakim and Nas, those guys were just doing their thing. And I think over time, it just accumulated to the fact that Nas became the best. Jay's whole mission out here was to win at every stop. That's Michael Jordan.
So I think you're talking about competitive fervor in nature. Here's where I don't agree with that sentiment. No, Michael Jordan, like a young Michael Jordan, came into the league averaging 28 points a game. As in, he walked into the game, Michael Jordan.
Yeah.
The Jay-Z people talk about, he didn't walk in that way.
That's fair.
And so it's not the same thing. And that does matter because when you pull up highest point per game average for a rookie season,
28 points a game.
Yeah, go Wilt Chamberlain, Michael Jordan. And it goes that way for a reason.
It's a couple more people, but it's like in there.
No, not for a first season.
Nah, I think Jordan's like fourth or something. Somebody just posted that stat.
Is it fourth?
Yeah, it's something like that. But
right.
it's like
it might
the Elgin
be like Elgin Baylor
and guys like that.
Yeah, it's like guys who played in a different era where there wasn't a shot
But from
clock.
1976 on is Jordan.
Well, that's easy. As a matter of fact, he's the only person I think other than
Hakeem is not Hakeem, but Kareem is ahead of him too, rookie season.
I think it's about the same rookie season, though. Like,
Yeah,
it's about tenths of a point, and we're talking about a 7'2" guy versus a 6'6" guy without a jump shot.
Right.
So
from a guard position, though, I'm sure he's number one.
I mean, from a guard position, it's just him and Iverson, really.
Or
as far
probably
as
Elgin Baylor or something like that.
Elgin Baylor's a small forward. Elgin Baylor like 6'7", 6'8".
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah. But with the J comparison, they brought up the J thing because of how transcendent Michael Jordan was off the court as well. And that's where I thought the J correlation was very, 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 very valid. If we're talking about peak performance, I still don't feel that way. But if we want to talk about cumulative package, yeah, I could totally see that.
I think thriving in an era where he was kind of targeted and he thrived in that, that's very Michael Jordan-like.
He wasn't. Who was targeted?
No, during that blueprint era where, you know what I'm saying, you had
Was he targeted or was he throwing shade, Mike?
He was doing both.
Right. So
but
he
wasn't ducking anything. He had the whole prodigy thing. These are heavyweights. You know what I mean?
No, see, this is what I'm saying. Is he ducking something or is it valid? Because when Prodigy was saying what he said, it's not like he said something invalid.
No,
he was right. He didn't say it. Now the tonality of it might not have been, progressive and proactive towards keeping things peaceful. But he was right when it was going on. If you really want to know the truth, and we're going to talk about this because I know we're going to talk about It Was Written's 27th anniversary.
Yep.
Well, the Queens dudes was the only dudes that took shots, and that's Nas on The Message and Mobb Deep and Capone and Noriega on LALA. Rest of them dudes was quiet,
It's true.
including with the bar work. So
CJ
it's not
Kidd
like
with
the
a super
shots,
chat.
you know.
CJ Kidd got a super chat. He says, it's also the anniversary of De La Soul's Stakes is High, since that It Was Written came out on the same day. That and It Was Written came out on the same day, for sure.
a great
We'll
day.
talk about that too. CJ Kidd also said, Big Gip still taking shots at Jay out here. The Jay subliminals are coming real soon. The same way Pusha let Jim talk until Pusha barred him out, calling it. Eric Terrell with a super chat says, Mike D, mission accomplished. All your 3,000 talking points. Now the other man takes those points, makes videos about 3,000, and won't say his name on your platform. I don't know what that means.
What is he talking about?
But okay.
What is he talking about?
I don't know what that means. What did we miss, Eric
I'm
Terrell?
about to say, did we miss something?
What did we miss?
We missing something?
First of all, I want to say this.
You know, you're supposed to be the producer. You're not keeping up with these things.
I don't know what this is.
Absurd.
I've been doing research all day, but you know, at the end of the day, I love 3,000.
I ain't been researching.
I love 3,000. But yeah,
You know,
elaborate on that a little bit more, Eric Terrell.
I actually want to say this too. You know that there's a legion of people out here who love him so much that they feel like we're actually attacking this man.
Yeah, I know.
No, like they.
I love him more than they do.
That's what I'm saying. It's like you have a lot of nerve telling me that I'm attacking somebody who I know I love
Yeah.
and more familiar with their catalog than you are.
I'm just being honest. Like
one
I'd be
guy-
honest about anybody.
Look here. One guy tried to pull up on me on Twitter and talk about how Organized Noise produced AT Aliens. I'm like, no, fam, they just co-produced. He's like, well, they produced most of it. I'm like, well, Outkast actually produced Elevators.
They did.
And AT Aliens and Over the Woods and Extraterrestrial.
Did they do Over the Woods too?
Yes.
Yeah, I know they did
That's what I mean.
Extraterrestrial.
So if
Yeah.
you look, and Wheels of Steel. So if you actually look at it, they did 3 of the 4 singles, and they did maybe the most street record on the album outside of 2 Dope Boys. It's
Yeah.
like, no, that sound like Outkast got a lot to do with that.
Yeah.
But it's like, you know, fam didn't know that I knew it like that. But I'm like, fam, I'm from here. I'm trying to tell
That's
you.
common knowledge here.
That's common knowledge down here
Yeah.
that they made the singles on AT Aliens.
And that was a big part of Outkast being able to dictate their own sound moving forward.
Well, they bought
too.
their own studio. They
Mhm.
didn't record AT Aliens in the dungeon. A lot of people forget that part.
They actually did that at Patchwork.
Correct.
Yeah,
which
yeah.
they ended up buying, which used to be Bobby Brown's old recording home.
No. That's
That's Stankonia.
yeah, that's Stankonia. Patchwork's over there by the McDonald's or whatever on Northside Drive.
Right,
Stankonia's
right
a
on the
little
other
further
side.
down.
Stankonia's further
Yeah,
down.
but they did a Kumani there.
Right.
And that was before it was
Right.
Stankonia.
They
Yep.
did a Quimini there before it was Stankonia
Yeah,
Studios. Correct.
Patchwork I think was the first time that they,
We've
you know,
been
like
in
you said.
Patchwork. You probably been in Patchwork.
Yeah, I've been
too.
in Patchwork. I never recorded in Patchwork, but I've been there for like meetings and
I
stuff
never
like that.
recorded, but I had some other cats I was with that had some sessions in there.
Jeezy was really big with Patchwork. Patchwork was a big part of Jeezy's career, you know what I'm saying, early on. He did a lot of his early stuff there. I think that's where he came together with Boys in the Hood.
Right.
And they did, you know what I'm saying, them
So
boys
look,
and all that.
So look, fam was like, when we talking New York stuff, he's like, do you stand down when you talking New York stuff? I was like, people run to me all the time and tell me Rakim's better than Nas. Like, to my face, fam.
I love Rakim.
And give me, and I brought up you, Mike. I was like, do you understand? I get whole dissertations from Mike D about why he thinks Rakim is still better.
I feel like Rakim's the greatest lyricist ever. Now, if we want to talk about a correlation with sports, Rakim's Wilt Chamberlain to me.
I like that.
You know, he's just
like
so
that.
early on and so far ahead of everybody.
The numbers
like-
he's putting on the board at the time he's putting them on the board, it don't make sense.
And he's like off in a space of his own. What were some of those other correlations?
Wilt's
they did?
not in a space of his own, though. Bill Russell does exist. He's not in a space of his own.
No, I'm just talking
He's
about from his individual statistics.
Right.
You
It's
know what I
numbers
mean?
he's putting
Like,
up. No, those were most of the comparisons. It was
I don't know who to compare to LeBron after saying all that, actually. I mean, because I would give Jordan to Mike. I mean, I'm sorry. I would give Jordan to Jay, right?
Right.
I'm going to reserve. I don't know where Nas
You didn't
would
like
go.
the Nas Tim Duncan thing, so
I don't like the Nas
so
Tim
find
Duncan.
a pairing.
Who could I find for Nas, man? What do y'all think out here?
Because here's the thing.
Who do you
that
think?
You know what I thought about? I actually thought about the title of one of his best albums. I thought Magic, because here's why.
I was thinking Magic. That was
Here's
one of
why.
my picks.
Magic is the only player that I ever saw, Jason Kidd briefly, that could control and run a whole game and be the best player on the floor without scoring. As in, he could have 10 points and dominate the game because his talents were so supreme at all the things. And so if you were to correlate that to what this means and look at the sales of who he's compared to, it's like, well, his numbers, much like Magic's numbers, outside of the assists, they don't look like, but if you saw the guy play.
Well, you know what? I'm okay with that. You know who I got as LeBron, though?
Right.
I thought about it.
Think about this, though. People forget this. There was a time before Mike ascended to where he ascended to that the conversation was between Magic, Kareem, Bill Russell, and Wilt Chamberlain and Larry Bird for who the greatest player of all time was.
Straight up.
And so that's kind of maybe where he most lies, because much like Magic, he does things that, well, quite frankly, we haven't seen anybody else do. And so that's where he's most like actually Magic.
He changed the game, too.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? That
Illmatic changed the game, much like Magic being a 6'9" point guard.
Yeah.
Stylistically speaking, like I
like that.
He bought rhymes back, him Enter the Wu-Tang and Illmatic is what bought the East Coast back and bought lyrics and rhymes back. And so, much like Bird and Magic bought, basketball back in Forever Link, it's kind of like when you see Nas on tour with Wu-Tang, 25, 26, 27, 30 years later, it's like, well, they bought the East Coast back together.
We got football in here, though, right? So I'm going Tom Brady.
No, this was all basketball.
I thought they did a Lamar Jackson for Eminem.
Oh, I guess they did do Lamar. I forgot about that. So who?
I'm going Tom Brady, like we said. That Tampa Bay championship is like what this KD thing is.
Great early with the team.
Yep.
Great late. Great in the middle by himself. Yeah, I could see that.
LeBron, I got Kanye West.
You just gonna find a way to bring Kanye.
I gotta bring Kanye in it. He's one of the greats, and the fact that he's able to do everything well, that's very LeBronish. You know what I mean? Him being a producer is the assist. Him being able to be a solo artist and a superstar in that light, that's his scoring ability. He's able to do everything from a straight line. I mean, and him collaborating with Wade, Kyrie, or whoever, that's him collaborating with Common, Push, Jay. Just saying. Makes sense, right? It makes sense. Yep, somebody said Nas is Tom Brady.
I don't have the strength. I don't have the strength to argue with you about that. I'm cool with the Nas Tom Brady thing. Mm-hmm. It's just, here's the thing. Nas as a teenager was a phenom and prodigy and talent. Tom Brady is not that. That's why I bring up Magic. No, much like Nas, Magic been the man pretty much since he picked up a ball. Yeah. Much like Nas been the man since he picked up a microphone. You want to know why people don't talk about who Magic Johnson was because he's actually scrunched between Kareem and Shaq in terms of the notoriety of somebody coming out of high school, because we notarize the big men. People forget Magic coming out, that was a thing. Yeah. Magic's a thing.
No, Magic's the truth. And you know what? And I'm not going to go there.
And if I had to pick, see, and here's the thing. When I have LeBron ahead of Magic, but it's more about accomplishments and duration. Yeah. Oh, if I got a game, because here's where Nas and Magic are alike too. They're both killers, and you forget that they're killers. Yep. You forget that they're killers. No, Magic want blood in a way LeBron don't. Yeah. Rookies don't put up 42, 15, and 7 unless they are killers inside.
Magic was insane.
Yeah.
I mean, because he had to go up against another killer head up and Larry Bird.
Consistently.
Yes. Even in college. CJ Kidd with a super chat says, on a recent podcast, Gip put Andre greater than Jay because he said Dre came in selling platinum, whereas Jay had to work up to that. Really? Well, the thing is, man, I respect Gip. I love Gip, and hopefully we'll have Gip here to talk about this thing. Jay did it as an individual, whereas Big Boy and Dre did it as a collective. Outkast is a collective. Two separate things.
Not totally. I'm somewhere in the middle, and I'll tell you why. What's the first two singles on Reasonable Doubt?
The first two singles were Ain't No Nigga and Dead Presidents was the first single. Okay. Right? Dead Presidents and Ain't No Nigga, I believe.
Right. So I thought Ain't No Nigga was the first single.
Oh, it could have been. I think Dead Presidents went first, but we can Google check
and when
that.
the Can't Knock the Hustle came out?
I feel like that was third, and I feel like Feeling It was after that.
Feeling It?
Yeah.
And they had Brooklyn's Finest for Big? He had more.
I didn't know that was a single.
He had help going gold.
Oh, he did have help.
Getting Married, a single hook in 96 ain't That ain't.
And I want to be fair though. They were on priority.
That ain't.
You know what I'm saying?
That like ain't eggs and grits for breakfast, Mike. That ain't no cheap breakfast.
I feel you, but being on priority is a lot different than being on LaFace/Arista in 1994. It is. 94 and 96, right? Respectfully.
Does LaFace have some sort of rap A&R or thing
No.
going on that you're privy to in 1994?
No, and they were actually the door openers there, but they actually had the money, though.
Priority had Ice Cube and Master P prior to lay a blueprint and a foundation.
I think Master P was after Jay and them,
after?
around the same time, but they had Cube. What Priority was doing, they made you do a lot of the marketing. And that's what set them apart from, you know, they were kind of the Koch of their day. You know what I'm saying? Where it was like, that's why they were able to give such a better split to people like P and Q.
Here's where I'm somewhere in the middle. Reasonable Doubt. I would tell you is a better album than Southern Playalistic. Even objectively speaking.
Objectively speaking, I agree.
Personally going to play Southern Playalistic more. Objectively, Reasonable Doubt. But organically speaking, Outkast went platinum being Outkast. As in, they didn't need Mary singing no hook.
They didn't need no big
Foxy
features.
doing no verse. They don't need to take no
they didn't
sample.
Need TLC
they
or
don't need to
Tony Braxton.
And they had that at their accessibility and didn't use it. Like, how about this? It's like, think about the intro to ATLians. It's like, well, they could have used a lot of people. They used Joy.
Yeah, that's fair.
You know what I'm saying?
That's fair.
And so if you look at what Outkast did coming from the South at the time that they did.
It's very impressive.
And going platinum. Organically going platinum. As in no big names, no samples. On ATLians, Big Boy often talked about how they intentionally didn't sample.
Hold on. Is Raekwon the first outside feature on an Outkast album?
Easy, yes.
Okay, so it's kind of like Wu-Tang with, you know, Nas and, you know, Only Built for Cuban Links.
Very Wu-Tangish. Don't nobody get into the third project.
Yeah.
Damn right.
Yeah, and that's fair because on Reasonable Doubt, like you said, you got Mary, you got Foxy, you got Big.
That's a lot.
That's a lot.
That's 96.
Yeah, that's a lot.
Stop acting like that ain't a lot.
Yeah, that's a lot.
Like when you read the Outkast lineup now and it's like, oh, well, CeeLo, Big Gip.
Yeah.
It's like, it means something now. They mean shit in 94.
No, you got to buy into the group.
Who are these country niggas?
Yeah, it wasn't about looking at the back and like, oh, yeah, I got to check for this song. Nah. And it wasn't like, you know, you had producers like a Premier. We didn't even talk about that part of it.
Well,
it's just organized noise,
that's what
producing the whole thing.
Well, that's what I mean about the live instrumentation of the first couple of projects, too. It's like, well, ain't really no samples.
Yeah. Let me get some of these other Super Chats. Jermaine Johnson with the Super Chat says, MJ had to wait until Magic, Bird, Isaiah were out of the way before being crowned. Just like Hove had to wait until Big and Pac were out of the way. Who is Pac? And then we can move on. Dane with the Super Chat says, Nas is Tom Brady. I agree.
Who's the biggest transitional figure in sports?
Michael Jordan.
No. Transitional. Mike's not the transitional player. Magic and Bird are synonymous with the transition.
With the transition of the NBA.
Yes,
I mean, you're talking about just in period?
Yeah, who's the greatest transitional player?
I mean, Pac's going to have to be Ali or something.
Thank you. That's what I was thinking. He's Ali.
Yeah.
He's Ali to me because he's the guy.
The guy that's political. I mean, not political. You know what I mean? Just social.
Well, he's the representation of so many things.
Athleticism matches. Right.
Right. It's like, no. Pac's a dope MC and songmaker and lyricist and quotable and hit records and street records and records the guys like. It's like he covers so many bases. It's kind of like what you get with Ali. It's like, well, Ali wasn't just a boxer. It's like, well, he was the best boxer.
Right.
Ali had the best jab. Ali had one of the best hooks. He had one of the best crosses.
Yeah.
Ali had an uppercut.
He had
Ali
everything.
had footwork.
He had everything.
Ali had the best talk game.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Look, Ali looked good to the ladies, much like Tupac. Like, ladies loved Ali, much like they loved Tupac. It's like, no. That's a fine 6'2", 215, chiseled up black man. Like, women like them too. That is part of it. So, yeah, Ali is who I thought about for Pac.
Eric Terrell with the Super Chat says, the music nerd Anthony made a video using your talking points about 3000 needing a solo album, but didn't give y'all a shout out after your Monday show. Shout out to music nerd Anthony. I don't know who that is,
but no, you ain't about to be just taking that shit for free. Anthony, what are you doing?
Anthony, what are we doing here, man?
No, don't be taking our shit, first of all, Anthony. Then nobody.
People know who the originators are, though.
Well, apparently he just took it.
Right. Blue Collar Hustle with a Super Chat, and I'm sure Anthony's watching the show because it sounds like Anthony watches the show.
And be hijacking.
Blue Collar Hustle with the super chat says Kanye used ghostwriters. Bron didn't use ghost shooters. Nas is LeBron, teenage phenom who lived up to the hype. I'm okay with that.
The longevity.
I'm
thing
okay
with
with
LeBron,
that.
I'm okay.
I'm okay with that.
But I'm not okay with it because it's like LeBron's competitive record and Nas's competitive record. No, that ain't the same competitive record though, fam.
Yeah.
But the prodigious talent is
Yeah.
there. But you could say in the sense that like Nas is Kareem in that sense too. Because
Yeah.
it's like Kareem's.
I think Kareem could be a
Because here's the thing.
longevity's there.
Well, here's the thing.
Everything.
Well, much like Nas, he's considered to be the greatest prospect to ever come out of New York for his respective sport. Came in the game dominating. Came in the game and changed the game immediately. Championship rings early. MVP awards throughout.
Everywhere.
Great late. Got with a younger player late.
Yeah.
That kept him great longer.
I think we found our Nas person is Kareem.
Who's
Jermaine Johnson.
Who's still a top 5 player.
Yeah, definitely. Jermaine Johnson with the super chat says LeBron is LL. Both were great as teenagers. Both are great as elder statesmen.
I like that.
LeBron could drop 40 in a year 20. 40 in year 20. LL can still outperform most current MCs. I like that one. Esquire with the super chat says Nas is Kareem. See, he said it before we did. Both were prodigies as teens, won at all levels, dominated multiple eras, and have been marginalized by the mainstream media, unstoppable forces. And, you know, like you added in.
Very pro-black.
Yeah.
Very pro-black sentiments.
AB Studios with the super chat says Kanye didn't use ghostwriters. It's co-writers, excuse me. He would give credit for conversations, one-liners, or what you wear. John Legend said that he never saw people write for him. I agree with AB Studios. This man gets credit for everything.
Do you see how the conversation turned just by you saying Kanye? I wish you would stop.
Well, I mean, he has to be a part of the conversation.
No, he doesn't.
He's one of the all-time greats. You know what I mean?
All right, next time.
I'll give him the LeBron thing.
Ron,
let's talk
Ron,
about
can you
this.
tell us to wrap it up so we can talk about something else? Thank you.